Welcome to the Good Man Paradigm. My name is Imogen Hobbs. I am the men's coach and founder of Change Channel Coaching. Tonight, what I want to talk about is something that impacts many families, many people that I work with, people that I've seen. It's impacted lots of the relationships that I have been in my life, which is something that I think that we in Australia, we are familiar with in a way that is both it's a bit of a conundrum, really, I think, which is tall poppy syndrome, which is don't stand out, don't be too big, don't be too tall, don't be too better than everyone else, don't stand out. And then competition, which is I have to win, I have to prove myself, I have to work harder, work longer, work to prove myself, right? I have to challenge the world around me. And so we have this interesting mix of, go hard but not too hard, be good but not too good, stand out but, don't cause too much of a ripple. And then when we bring this back home into the house, we end up in competition with partners, competition with family members, and that challenge nature that is particularly strong in Australia, I think, then doesn't really have a place to switch off. And so one of the, okay, cool, everyone's seeing and hearing me. I can see that comments. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. One of the biggest issues that I see with that is that we don't really know how to turn that off. We don't really know how to put it to bed. And so then we come home to partnerships and relationships and go into fights and end up in a real struggle, in a real challenge point with each other, which is you should apologize first, or, you said the wrong thing, or you fucked it up, or they need to answer first, right? Like they need to say sorry. They need to prove themselves to be, or answer for what they did. And, I worked in the mines for 4.5 years up in Mackay in North Queensland. And that was one of the things that I heard from a lot of the guys on the sites all of the time was this, I can't fucking get it right. Like, I don't know what they want from me. I don't know where a particular place in this, which isn't great. I don't think that across the board in society, men are doing it well or women are doing it well. I think we're on both sides getting it all messed up. And I think, someone just commented on the post for this session tonight on Facebook and said, feminism has a lot to blame for competition in the home. And I agree. I agree with that. But if we look at feminism's the problem, or women are to blame, or men are to blame, then we're all just going, oh, it's their fault. They've got to fix it. They've got to put in the effort. They've got to change it, which is the fucking competition. That's the issue. We all need to work on it. We all need to work on our parts of things. We all need to change the aspects that we can for ourselves. We all need to take responsibility for ourselves and start to shift the way that we show up. Because that competition in the home means that no one ever has peace. That competition in the home means that people are going out into the world to try and find peace. People are going to work to try and find or have some peace, to get some downtime, to be able to, feel like they understand what's expected of them. And in the household, in the home, seems to be where the war is, where the challenge is, where the competition is. And I think, I've just written an article on this as well, which is men used to go out to war. and come home to peace. And now men are going out to find peace and coming home to war. And that's a systemic issue that I think that we should be opening the conversation on. And as I will always say to you guys, like, this is my reflection. I want to have this conversation about the reason why I've created the good man paradigm is because it is this, I want to challenge this idea of what we think it is for men to be good in the world. And does that stop them from being passionate and driven and forces of nature that they can be? And what happens when men are inspired, when they're emotionally regulated, when they understand themselves, they're not running away all of the time? What happens when men and women can be collaborative together and support each other rather than try and fucking point the finger and say, you did it, you fucked up, you were the one in the wrong? And then when we try and have conversations about that, it tends to be this outrage and argument because you have to learn the skills to listen. You have to learn the skills to understand what is triggered for you in a moment when someone else is sharing. Like, what happens when a woman is sharing what she feels and a man says, what, should I just agree with everything that you're saying and like fucking suck it up and move on? And then what? And it's like, that's competition. Like, yes, when someone is explaining to you what they're feeling or what their experience is, if you argue the point with them and you argue the facts with them and you challenge all of that stuff, you're missing the information that's available to you about how can we connect better? How can we show up to this? How can we change this? How can we work together to ensure that this doesn't happen again or that next time we're better prepared? But instead we go into the argument of like, this is what happened and prove to me that that's right or prove to me that that is wrong or whatever that is. And then you've made it all about you. You've invalidated the person. You've missed the fucking point. And you're in competition with each other. Now you're both shutting down. Now you're both yelling at each other. Now there's a fight. And I don't know who that helps. I don't see how that helps us to have healthy, collective, like collaborative relationships. And what I see out there at the moment, and the statistics say that particularly for people ages 40 and up, the divorce rates are going up, but the initiation of the divorce is generally women. So the women are initiating the divorce, but also on the other side of that is that statistically also 75% of the people worldwide doing self-development work are women. So that gap between men and women and understanding is only growing. And I think that, yes, feminism had a huge role to play in this. I think that feminism started to create that disparity of like, what is expected of men and how can you show up and how can you meet the societal requirements that are projected about what you should be to be good or what you need to do to be able to be strong. And have we demonized powerful men because we've seen so many times in society that, you know, power leads to abuse of power, it leads to egotistical behavior, it leads to domination of things, you know, and it's not, we don't see it play out very often in a healthy way, in a stable way, or in a way that is collaborative or supportive, right? So when we look at powerful men out there in the world, generally, I'm not saying all of them, but when we look at that as a societal perspective, for instance, what we see a lot of is men abusing that power because they don't, I think, this is just my opinion, they don't completely understand themselves. I think that there's deep work that gets lost in that, which means that then we go into this overarching program that plays out that means like you want validation, you want to be seen as the best, you want to prove yourself, you know, like, and that is a nature that we foster as a society. You know, and I think that that becomes really confusing for men. Because with that feminism and with that movement and with that challenge and that separation between men and women and the expectations of society changing so much, I don't think that it was out of line. Right? I agree with the instigation of that movement. I think that things needed to change because I'm not from that era though either, right? So I can only comment on what I'm seeing and what my thoughts are based on what I've experienced. But I think that the pendulum has swung way too far the other way. And I don't believe that it was healthy then. That work harder, get on with it, just toughen up, dry your fucking eyes, princess, and move on. Like, that didn't work either. And I think right now what we're seeing is this, the flow-on effect of that, which is I can't push it down any further. I have spoken to so many 40 to 50-year-old men who, when they get on a call with me, say, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me. I used to be able to just get on with it and I can't anymore. I feel debilitated. Like I can't fucking get out of bed. I cry and I don't know why and I can't make it stop. Hard-working, strong men. Going, I can't fucking, and I should know how to fix this. In what sense? At what point did society set men up for emotional regulation and understanding themselves, knowing how to process what's going on? We set men up for push it down, shove it away, stick it in the jar, put the lid on and fuck it off. Pretend it's not there. Get on with it. And one of the big issues with that is that women were the safe place for men. You know, like men used to come home and cry to their mothers so that they could go and work with their fathers or stand strong with their fathers, right? And so women were the safe place, but we are the product now of many generations of mistreatment, of misunderstanding, of fucking neurodivergence, like an epidemic. And so women became heavily in their masculine. There was a lot of trauma. There was a lot of pain. There was a lot of low income, poverty. There was a lot of separation. Women in any of those instances are forced into their masculine. And I can tell you now that getting out of that is really, really hard. And it requires a lot of support. It requires men to be able to create safe space. But if men don't understand themselves and men and women are at war competing with each other, then there's no safety and she can't put it down either. And so women used to be the safe place, but they're not anymore. And men used to be the security, but they're not that anymore either, because they're not allowed to be. There's this massive challenge in society that says, be the provider, be strong, do the things, but don't outperform your partner. Don't overshadow people. Stand tall, but not too tall. Be strong, but not overbearing. Be vulnerable, but don't look weak. Like, I'm confused about that. I can absolutely see and understand why I hear so many of these stories all of the time from the men that I speak to on a daily basis. My clients bring this up as well, right? Because there's this, like, I want to follow my passion, but I'm not sure that I can tell my wife that because she likes the security that we've got right now and the situation that we've set up, and I feel like this, you know, like this would challenge that if I follow my passion, because what if it doesn't work, and what if it doesn't happen the way that I want it to, and what if I don't make the same level of money that I have right now? So I'm scared to tell her that I want to follow my passion. What if she doesn't let me? Competition, not collaboration. And I think part of the outcome of that is that there isn't really a safe place for men anymore. Because one of the other things that seems to resonate is, and what I've seen in the minds and things like that, is that men, and from, like from war, the part of that is that men want to stand strong together, and they want to know that the guy next to them's got their back. I've seen it on the mind sites, right? Like, you want to know that the man beside you is watching your back and has got you, not that he's crying and he's can't hold himself together and he doesn't know what he's doing, or he feels weak. And so women are naturally the safe place to talk about that. But when there's competition at home, there's no opportunity for that. And on that note, your partner is not meant to be your therapist. Like, I think part of what is going on is that we expect our partners to be everything. We expect our partners to hold all of the components of a relationship. And one person cannot do that. It's not their responsibility, because they're also holding themselves. So man or woman, that part doesn't really matter. So I was just reading some of the comments. That part doesn't really matter. It's around what do we want to achieve? What do we want to create together as a relationship, as a partnership? And if you're expecting your partner to be your therapist, if you're expecting your partner to take responsibility for your emotional state, if you're expecting your partner to be able to understand and help you to navigate through your trauma, which is generally our childhood and our adolescence, is that collaboration? Or is that a projected expectation for someone who might not understand how to process that for themselves, who might not understand how to navigate their own trauma, navigate their own self-worth? It is your responsibility all of the time to take responsibility for your emotional state, for your life, for how you got to where you are, good, bad, or otherwise. Right? I am of the belief that the more trauma that we went through, the more important the work is for us to do so that we can help people. Because there's plenty of people in shitty situations, and there's plenty of people that really need help. And lived experience is one of the most important aspects to be able to articulate, to be able to speak about, but to be able to transcend for yourself, to be able to go through the process of understanding, what do I need to understand from this? And I think part of the problem, or part of the struggle that can happen in relationships, is that, like, both people have gone through their shit and neither know how to speak about it. And so we're just trauma dumping on each other. We're throwing triggers at each other and then looking for confirmation of our belief system. It's when partnerships, when someone's angry and they yell, often what they're looking for is confirmation that you don't love them, confirmation that they're not worthy, confirmation that says that confirms the experience that they had as a child. So it might be that you left home when you were young, you ran away from home, and you didn't believe that mum loved you and that she chose someone else over you. And mum and dad had separated and all of those things, and you were out at 13 or 14 or 15. And then partnerships are not safe, and you constantly look for reasons to run away, why it's not going to work out, why it's not safe, why you can't stay there, why that person will never understand you. And what we're trying to confirm in that situation is generally that mum didn't love us. Now we're projecting it on other people throughout our whole life and wondering why we keep running through the same fucking hamster wheel. It's like, how did I get back on this merry-go-round? Why is this happening to me again? Why does this keep happening to me? And often that is because we're not taking responsibility. We're not stopping and turning and looking at ourselves, men and women alike. Instead, we are projecting it at people, throwing it at people, and hoping that it sticks, hoping that they confirm. And an argument confirms that. That's what confirmation of that belief looks like. And then we separate. And families break up, and children get hurt, and we reset the cycle. And the next generation goes through it. It's your job. It's your job to work on yourself. It's your job to understand yourself. It's your job to take responsibility for your life happening for you rather than to you. To you, my life is happening to me. I'm the victim of this, says I am out of control. There's nothing I can do about it. I can't change it. I can't reshape it. Like it just keeps happening to me. And that's bullshit. I call bullshit on that. Your life is happening for you, and until you stop co-piloting your survival mechanism, until you stop co-piloting your trauma and allowing that to take the wheel and drive your life, until you figure out how to step into the driver's seat of your own life, which means that you have to stop and turn and face yourself over and over and over and over and over again. You are the highest and hardest, most difficult mountain that you will ever have to conquer. Understanding yourself, understanding the layers to which, and this is what the guys are working through in my life group programs right now, is that it's not about, I've gone through the dark night of the soul and now I'm spiritually awakened and therefore I have ascended, whatever that fucking means. It's not about that. It's, I just woke up to a bunch of shit that I was doing and I've started to work on it and now I understand a layer. And every time you get to a point where you understand that layer, another layer will peel back for you. I think that Donkey was right in Shrek. People are like onions, right? Onions have layers. And what we're looking at, what we're facing, the competitive nature of our society, of the way that we are encouraged, we are encouraged as a Western society to separate families. If you look at lots of Eastern cultures, family units and families operate together, but particularly in Australia for us, I live in the Sunshine Coast, my family's in New Zealand. We encourage a lot of separation. We encourage a lot of that migration. We encourage through schooling and things like that to be separated from our families. And then we are meant to trust people and come together and work on things when we haven't been given the tools. And then that competitive nature says, generally, this is my experience, the competitive nature comes from trying to fit in at school, trying to belong somewhere, trying to be part of something, trying to be chosen. And when we compete at school to be the smartest, the fastest, the strongest, the funniest, we do all of those things as masks to be chosen so that we feel like we fit in and we belong and we're part of the tribe, because everything has been created so that we are so separate. So that we are, pulled apart, and then we're trying to find belonging within units that don't particularly fit us, and that's not safe or trustworthy a lot of the time. Kids are fickle. I wouldn't go back to school if you paid me. I would not go back to that age. None of them. 18 and below. No, thank you. I would not do that again. And the partnership aspect of that is we're still trying to prove ourselves worthy to be able to belong. And even in partnerships, it's trying to prove that you're right, prove that you're smart, prove that you're funny, prove that you're worthy, prove that you deserve to be loved. That's usually at the bottom of most of it. Worthy to be seen. Allowed to be accepted. But all of that is a reflection of who you are and how you feel about yourself, men and women alike. It's your responsibility to do the work, to figure out who you are, where it comes from, how it impacts you, how you make decisions, how you show up in your daily life. Like, I'm not talking about, like massive overhauls. I'm talking about how you make decisions, how fast you act, how you show up in the morning, like how you get out of bed, how you go to sleep. I say this to the guys all of the time. Like, leadership is not what you do during the day. Leadership is how you lead your own life, how you lead yourself, how you go to bed at night, and how you wake up in the morning. Integrity is how you show up to yourself first and foremost, and then how that comes out to the rest of the world. How you share that, how you impact other people. And so if you think that people are shit around you and you go out with that attitude, people will confirm your belief that they're shit. They'll show up because that's what you're asking for, because it's your perspective that you're portraying at the world. And then you're asking for confirmation of that, and it's coming back to you. All right, we've all had unsuccessful relationships. We've all had friendships fall apart. We've all had jobs that we've lost or been made redundant from. Lots of people have had really horrible environments at home. And then we carry all of those belief systems, and the more of those experiences that we have, we compound. We just add those experiences and we layer them up and we just stockpile. Like, cool, I'm going to carry this shit around for the rest of my life. No, thank you. But you're choosing to do that by not working on yourself, by not learning who you are, by not learning how you function. You're choosing to lug your whole life around, and then you're throwing it at people, hitting them with the sack of shit. Stop it. And the work doesn't have to be huge. You don't need to, therapy's great. Coaching's awesome. It changed my life. So did therapy. But there's plenty of places to start, right? There's plenty of self-help books out there. There are plenty of do-it-yourself courses and programs. There are plenty of people and podcasts, people talking about doing this, about understanding yourself, about taking responsibility for yourself, about learning who you are, how you focus, how you function, how you show up. Like, choose the size of the bite of the apple that you are ready to take. And take it. I've got a free men's community. I coach in there free once a month. You don't even have to invest in that, because I want to make it accessible. So many men say to me, I don't know where to start. I'm like, well, there you go. Jump in here and see what you think. Figure out if that's the right step for you. Just do something. Like, I'm scared, or I don't know how, or I don't know where to start, is not, and particularly in this fucking day and age with AI and search engines and all of that sort of stuff. I don't know how, or I don't know where to start, or I'm scared are not good enough reasons not to start. It's not about other people. If you're at war with yourself, you're never going to find peace with anyone else. If you're at war with the devil on your shoulder that is constantly telling you that you can't ever get anything right, that you're not worthy, that you're not good enough, that you can't do it, that it'll probably fail, that people will criticize you, that you'll get judged, that it'll be embarrassing, take your pick at the story. If you're at war with that, you're in competition with yourself. You're never going to find collaboration with anyone else, let alone your partner. But partnership is where we come together, where we work together to create something. You literally work together to create life. What a magical process. It's like one of the most incredible things that can happen in this world. Why are we fighting? Why are we competing? One of the things, after working with over 726 clients now, unequivocally across the board, one of the things that I see that they benefit from the most is having someone in their corner encouraging them, believing in them, and you know, shouting from the sidelines, you can fucking do it. Your fear is not a good enough reason not to. Get out there. The world needs you. The world needs you to be powerful. The world needs you to be strong. The world needs you to understand yourself. Like, the world needs you to do something important. Go. I believe in you. You can do this. I don't know how is not a good enough excuse. Like, we can build the steps. We can build the structure. We can build the process out. You can do it. And I do think that as women, one of our roles is to cheerlead our men and say, yes, yep, you might fail. That's totally possible, but fuck yeah, I think you should do that. Go for it. I'm here. I back you. But we're not even having those conversations generally. And the men that I speak to, the men that are in my programs are, you know, like trying to climb that mountain of themselves to figure out, how do I build the courage to get out there and do the thing, to take the step? It's risky. And, oh, cool, I can do thumbs up if I hold my hand out long enough. And I'm going to do another podcast about that. I just decided then I'm going to do another podcast all about that, so that we can come together, work together, build together. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of self-awareness. Dandy says, as above, so below, as within, so without. 100%. Yes. Absolutely that. You're like, we are projecting all of the time. People are reflections of us. They show up in a way that that reflects and confirms our belief, our worthiness, our lack. And practical ways that you can implement that is to start doing the work on yourself, to just get curious. Like, just start asking some different questions. Like, jump into any of my socials and ask a question. I am so open for it. I don't mind how people start. And I am more than happy to encourage people to go where they need to be, with the people that will work well with them for their particular situation. I think it's more important that people start than we fight over this lack and poverty. Again, another podcast, just thought. And this lack and poverty narrative that says that there's not enough going around because we have to compete with everyone. We're in competition with everyone, not collaborative, which as a society keeps us down. Like, celebrate your peers. Celebrate your friends. Encourage people to take risks. But get curious about yourself. Be the most curious about you. Start asking some different questions. Start journaling. Start sitting with you. I have some of my clients, their action step is to sit and stare at the wall for 10 minutes a day. Like, try it. Try sitting and staring at the wall for 10 minutes a day. If you don't already meditate and you don't do all of those things, but even if you meditate, sit and stare at the wall for 10 minutes. Most people can't bear their own company. Most people feel like they have to be busy being busy and go off and do something. They're wasting time. They can't even be with themselves. Why would someone else be with you? If you don't even like yourself, if you're at war with yourself, why would you get something else in? You get what you know, not what you want. So we might want awesome relationships, but if we only know dysfunction, we'll get that back. Motivation often comes after starting, not before. 100%. The start is the single, I was saying this to a friend today, is that action produces momentum as well. I'm pretty sure that's Daniel Smith. Hey, mate. I was saying this to a friend today. The single hardest place to be is the beginning. The single most difficult position to be in is the start. Because you are trying to, and this is that action produces momentum, or action produces momentum, is that to get something moving requires so much more effort. But once it starts moving, once you take the first step, like I have so many guys that say, I don't want to work in groups. Like I'm not good at groups or anything like that. Like, and they feel so uncomfortable about the idea of being in a group with other men and feel like that's not going to be helpful and they're going to shut down. And then the resounding feedback from almost every man that has been through any of my groups has said that the actual group was the most important part, because that helped to generate that momentum. That helped to generate that accountability. Like that's the building new skills, starting at the beginning of something and figuring out how to get it to go, how to understand yourself, how to take responsibility. And for some people that is really complex when it comes in. And so being able to bite that down into smaller pieces, watching other people reflect their interpretation of that, people in similar situations, often helps to generate that momentum, to generate that understanding, but to feel also like, again, like most of what we're looking for is belonging, community, and connection. I've heard that so many times underlying so many different people's actions recently. Like across the board in 3 live groups that I've got going on, like one group, my phase 4 guys the other day, we did some alter ego work and what's beneath that. And both of them said, like when we looked at what's underneath this alter ego and what is it that you're actually looking for, they both said connection and communication. Like we're looking for belonging. And so when you move through something with a group of peers, it helps you to generate that momentum. It helps you to figure out how to start and how to keep moving and how to stick to it. Because the other thing about, particularly, again, I'm a men's coach, that's my focus. in that situation is that because the other guys are doing it, you want to join as well. You want to keep up. You want to show up. You want to. It often helps to generate that momentum, is to have that collaboration, that peer support, but that part of competition, which can be really healthy. It's like, I want to show up for them. I don't want to let anyone down. It's like, cool. Well, if that gets you moving, if that gets the ball to start rolling, if that helps you to take that step, we can move on that and we can expand on that and we can understand that more as we go. But I don't know where to start and I'm scared, and what if it doesn't work, and I don't want to be vulnerable in front of other people. Not a good enough excuse to stay at war with yourself, to continue fighting the devil on your shoulder and fighting yourself, so you're fighting the rest of the world as well. The opportunity is to reflect. The opportunity is to get curious about yourself. And the opportunity is to just start. If you can face yourself, you can face anything. If you understand yourself, if you know how you function, you become unstoppable. That's confidence. That's how you generate confidence. That's how you build it. By understanding yourself so well that you could walk into any room and it would not matter what someone said to you. It would not matter what someone threw at you, because you know so deeply how and so well how you function, that you are open to that. That's being present. That's confidence. Confidence is not at war with the rest of the world. Confidence is in collaboration with partnership. Confidence is a skill that you have to build and work on. And the invitation is for all of you to start doing that. And if you've already been doing that, then what's the next level that is open to you right now? If this resonates with you, if this feels like something that someone you know needs to hear, I would love for you to share that with them. Please like and share. If you want to re-listen to this, it'll be available on Spotify next week. Episode 1 and 2 are already on Spotify now. We are also in YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're everywhere. So please like and subscribe. I've also just written an article about this particular topic, and that is now on Substack, and it'll be on LinkedIn soon as well. So I would love your support to like, subscribe, share, follow, and let me know your feedback. Comment, message me. Tell me what you think, what you feel, what you've experienced, what it's brought up for you. I would love to hear your experience and share. Otherwise, we will be live again next Thursday night at 5:30. I do believe there's some shares from one of my clients coming through next week. So every Thursday at 5:30, there will be an episode out of the Good Man Paradigm. At 5:30, so YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, we will put it everywhere. Thank you all so much for joining me tonight. This is where the conversation starts or continues, and this is how we shift the good man paradigm. Thank you all so much. Have a great night.